over the coronavirus. Let's bring in Texas Congressman Mike McCaul. He is, of course, ranking Republican on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Good morning, Congressman.
Morning, Ed.
What are your thoughts? You know, some of your colleagues like Doug Collins, he's a pretty young lawmaker. There are a lot of older lawmakers on the Hill in both parties who might be concerned about the coronavirus, how it may impact them. You have a lot of tourists going through that building behind you every single day. You haven't been able to test all of them. You don't know what they may or may not have. What are your thoughts about potential changes to operations in the Capitol?
Well, I think we're taking certain measures, preventative measures. I don't think shutting down the Capitol or the Congress would be the right message to the country or the world. I think that would, you always find in a time of crisis that cooler heads prevail. And I don't think it's time to panic and shut down the Congress. That would send a terrible message, not only to the American people, but I think to the markets, where we want more certainty in the markets. That's what they're looking for right now.
Is there a possibility, though, because you're absolutely right about fear, you don't want to make this worse, but I've heard some lawmakers talking about doing more business, for example, by conference call.
Yeah, I think there's a look at maybe some staffers telecommuting. You know, the point is, if you've been in contact, like these 4 or 5 members have, with somebody specific that has the coronavirus, or you have symptoms, and you should stay home. You should quarantine yourself and take those measures. But again, as the vice president and the task force told us, the risk is still low. I think, Ed, to put it in perspective, we had 350 million cases of the flu this year alone in the United States, and somewhere between 20 to 50,000 deaths. Not to say that this virus is not serious. We take it very serious. It's very contagious. And I do think, though, Ed, a couple things are happening. I think it's worth mentioning. One is there's an antiviral that has come out that's very promising in the laboratory that we were told about by the vice president. They are now testing that on 1,000 patients in Asia, primarily China, and we're waiting to see. We'll know by April, by next month, if this treatment is effective. And that's the kind of stuff that I think is going to lower the panic level. And the idea of a vaccine on the horizon.
That's promising and good news, something we should focus on. The last 30 seconds we have, what do you think about the president putting the idea of maybe a payroll tax holiday, something to not only help the economy, but most importantly, help people across the country dealing with this?
Well, I think it's a good idea, and I think that's something Republicans will be supportive of. The president supports. I think we should be looking at that. It's also interesting to note that the Asian stock market actually did quite well. So we're hoping with the bell ringing at 9:30 this morning, we're going to see a little bit of a rebound on the stock market. That will give us some reassurance.
You ought to think about getting in the TV business, sir. You just had a very nice tease for what's coming up. We appreciate it. Thanks, Congressman.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right. Well.